Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. Are key personalities in questionable flood control projects ready to tell the truth? Today, one has faced the government's main fact-finding panel, while two more turned up at the Justice Department to seek state protection.
Also being tagged in corruption in government projects is ACO Bicol Party List Representative Zaldico. New House Speaker Boji D has given the lawmaker an ultimatum: go back to the Philippines within 10 days or face disciplinary, even legal action.
And more people are taking their outrage over corruption from social media to the streets. And this could only be a preview, with a more massive action set for Sunday, September 21st.
Si Bryce, Mr. Hernandez, very relevant yung kanyang mga revelations niya. Tell-all siya.
Daming accounts. Malulula kayo sa dami ng hindi transactions, ha?
Accounts.
Kailangan po makulong sila. Aming mga magsasaka, gutom, hirap.
As requested by the Independent Commission on Infrastructure, dismissed Public Works Assistant Engineer Bryce Hernandez turned up today. That's for the ICI's initial investigation on alleged irregularities in flood control projects. Hernandez was escorted by the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms to the hearing, as he remains in Senate custody after being cited in contempt. In the hearing, Hernandez provided information to the Commission, going as far as implicating more names in flood control scams. Hernandez also surrendered one of his luxury vehicles worth 13 million pesos as a sign of good faith and willingness to cooperate with the ICI. Hernandez will also turn over a Ferrari and a Lamborghini to the Commission.
Very cooperative si Bryce, no? Mr. Hernandez, very relevant yung kanyang mga revelations niya. And to cut it short, talagang tell-all siya. Basta masasabi ko lang is marami pa siyang nabanggit na mga hindi nabanggit noon. Ta-turn over yung Ferrari na worth 58 million. Tapos Lamborghini na which is worth about between 30 to 40 million. May mga motorcycles pa siyang bibigay sa amin.
Hernandez was later returned to the Senate but will again be allowed to leave tomorrow. This is upon the request of Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson. Lacson wants Hernandez to gather the evidence to support his allegations in the ongoing Blue Ribbon hearing on the flood control scam. Hernandez has been given 12 hours to do so.
Inaprubahan ni Senate President Soto yung aking request na siya'y samahan palabas ng escort ng OSAA. So, makakalabas siya sa isang purpose lamang. Ang biniling ko lang sa mga abogado namin, kailangan closely coordinated do sa lawyer ni Bryce Hernandez.
Meanwhile, contractor couple Curly and Sara Discaya underwent initial evaluation at the Department of Justice for their request for witness protection. The Discayas arrived separately, with Curly turning up first in a bulletproof vest, while Sara came in much later. Mr. Discaya said his wife has a heart ailment.
Ma'am Sara, any statement po? Any statement,
ma'am? Kamusta po kayo? Kamusta ang heart disease niyo, ma'am?
The couple sat down for 2 hours with Justice Secretary Boying Remulla. The DOJ says their qualification will depend on truthful testimonies and returning allegedly stolen funds from flood control projects. Once granted entry into the witness protection program, the Discayas will be granted shelter by the Justice Department as well as specialized officers as security.
I think they're relieved that dali akong kausap, I think that it's a relief for them to be talking to people who just want to go to the truth. Wala naman tayong ibang gusto rito. Gusto lang natin lumabas ang totoo sa bagay na ito.
The Justice Department clarified the Witness Protection Program does not equate to immunity from lawsuit, which only comes once the case reaches the courts and they become state witnesses. Aside from the Discayas, the DOJ says 2 or 3 more personalities involved in the flood control mess have also inquired about the Witness Protection Program.
Protection is a privilege. Kaya at any given time, if the truthfulness is attacked, or we find out that there are statements meant to derail or distract the investigation, that privilege can be taken away as well.
Come home or face disciplinary and legal actions. This was Speaker Faustino D. the third's message to Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldico as he ordered his travel clearance formally revoked. In D's first major call since elected Speaker, he sent a letter to Ko dated September 18, informing the lawmaker of the immediate revocation of his travel clearance. D cited that Ko is needed back in the country due to pressing national matters requiring his presence. Ko has been given 10 days from the receipt of the letter to return to the Philippines. The Speaker added that Ko's immediate and strict compliance within the prescribed period is expected. Ko's failure to do so will be taken as a refusal on his part and may result in appropriate actions of the lower chamber. The Zaldico issue has also triggered another exchange between Vice President Sara Duterte and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro. In an interview, the Vice President suggested that the administration just abduct Ko and return him to the country, a remark that got this reaction from Castro.
Involved sila sa kidnapping ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Bakit ngayon nawala si Zaldico at aalis si Martin Romualdez, hindi man lang nila magawa na kidnapin si Zaldico doon sa Amerika at ibalik dito sa atin sa Pilipinas?
Ipakidnap si Zaldico, unang-una, sabi niya ba't hinayaan magbiyahe? Dapat alam niya bilang vice-presidente na ang pagbabiyahe ng mga mabatas hindi sakop ng Pangulo. Di ba niya natandaan na mas madalas di siya magbiyahe at hinahayaan siya ng Office of the President kahit meron din nakabinbi na issue tungkol sa korupsyon na parte ng Articles of Impeachment. So anong pagkakaiba nun?
Well, there's some positive developments.
Right? So much has happened in the past 2 weeks since I left.
Since we all
But you know, tinry ko talaga hanapin si Zaldico sa Europe. Where
How?
I was just looking at every here, you know, Filipino. I'm like, but you know, it was so crazy trying to follow every night when I would go to the hotel. I'll watch you guys. I'll watch everything.
And the cast of characters has gotten bigger and bigger. But going back to Sarah and Curly Discaya applying for that witness protection, if you ask DPWH Secretary Vince Tizon, he doesn't believe that they should be granted. Kasi nga, in order to qualify as state witness, kailangan, di ba, you are not the most guilty. So for him, the Discayas do have involvement in this anomalous flood control project. So we'll see ano kung mag-grant nga talaga sila ng
Parang they were explaining na hindi pa naman, kung kahit na hindi sila mag-turn state witness, pwede pa sila mag-apply for witness protection. Hindi sila magiging state witness.
Basta no immunity.
No immunity. It does not equate to immunity.
Yes, and even Bryce Hernandez surrendering all these Lamborghinis. Can you imagine?
Well, I think he surrendered his, no offense, it's not cheap, but it's his cheapest car. I mean, where's
the GMC?
The GMC.
Magkano ba ang GMC ngayon?
13 apparently.
Okay,
13 compared to 30 to 40 million for Lamborghini, but I think
well, the positive development is the letter sent by the new speaker, Speaker D, to Zaldico and revoking that travel permit. So that's a positive sign.
So we'll count 10 days from now kung talagang bumalik siya.
Oo nga.
Is it 10 days from now or 10 days from the receipt? When
that's a really good question. I believe it's 10 days from the receipt. But how will you send it to him?
Exactly. Where is he?
There's
is
nowhere,
Zaldico?
alangan naman, no
Baka
one in Congress knows. Come on. Well, let's circle back now to our top story. There's another senator who wants to place Sims contractor Sally Santos under the Department of Justice's Witness Protection Program. He joins us tonight on The Big Story, Senator J.V. Ejercito. Good evening, Senator. Welcome to The Big Story.
Hi, good evening, Ces, Shawn, and Pauline. Thank you for having me The Big Story.
So, what's the basis, Senator, for the Witness Protection Program or protection for Sally Santos?
Well,
What's the
because
basis?
she has already said a lot of information, says, and even during the previous hearing under Senator Marcoleta, she already pointed to Bryce Hernandez and engineer JP Mendoza as the real culprits and the ones who really know and operated on the modus, no, on having ghost projects and in-house contracting in the notorious district of Bulacan. And during the hearing yesterday, under new chairman Senator Ping Lacson, I noticed that she was jittery, she was nervous compared to the first compared to the previous hearing where she pointed to the two, Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza. So that's why I asked her, and she said that there are unidentified vehicles circling their house, and so that's why she feels that she's scared for her life. No, that's why I proposed to the committee that she be recommended for witness protection program to the DOJ, of course, subject to evaluation of the Department of Justice.
Do you feel, Senator, that she could actually give more once she's given security? Because that's kind of what she said at that hearing yesterday. Sabi niya, wait, pahingi mo ng protection. And then Ping Lacson was asking, physical protection or legal protection? And she consulted her lawyer and she said, physical protection. So it's obviously like some sort of threats onto her life, right? But do you believe na meron talaga siyang alam, meron siyang maisisawalat, at meron siyang pruweba?
Well, from on the onset already, she has already said a lot of information that apparently Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, and the syndicates there in the Bulacan district office of DPWH, they are the ones doing this modus, no, borrowing licenses from different contractors and doing in-house, as I mentioned, yung in-house, no, that in-house contracting means only paperworks, no, wala pong talagang ano yan, wala talagang actual construction. So I feel that she can say a lot and give us more information on this modus operandi of Bryce Hernandez and company.
Senator, should we not leave the decision to the ICI also as well?
Well, as I already said, made the statement before that, since it's not, I don't think with the current situation says that people will be contented with just DPWH officials who will be charged, prosecuted, and probably jailed later on. There's suspicion that there are legislators and probably higher officials that are involved. So I personally, I think that the ICI would be better. We would be able to better leave this duty with ICI so as to remove that suspicion that it's difficult, no? That we are investigating ourselves. House of Representatives is doing their own investigation and then hitting the Senate, and then the Senate is doing the same thing. So I personally would think that it's better to be left with ICI. But I think Senator Ping Lacson just wants to wrap it up. No, he wouldn't want to take this long. So whatever we can extract, whatever new information, probably we'll have one or two more hearings, and we will forward. I think the Blue Ribbon Committee will forward whatever findings and information gathered to the ICI.
They're not naming any legislators yet. Aside from, of course, the senators that were named in the House hearing. So, you think it's the public nature, of the conduct of the Blue Ribbon Committee that they are afraid to name names?
Well, Says, to be honest with you, I think it's my own assessment. It's Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza who are doing the implementation part, no? Meaning the project management part. And their boss, who I think was very elusive, his demeanor, it seems that he's just taking all the blame, no? Saying that he was negligent, he signed everything. But I know, I think, and I suspect that Engineer Henry Alcantara, the district engineer, is the missing link to the proponents, if ever, or higher officials of the DPWH.
I mean, he's very confident, Senator, no? Na parang wala akong alam, kahit na may litrato na. There is a photo. And he's denying this. So do you think there's some high people? Do you have any ideas as early as now, or even Senator Ping, since he's an investigator, sino kaya yung mga backers niya?
Well, that's what we want to find out in the coming days. Probably 1 or 2 more hearings. Senator Lacson said he doesn't want to drag this on, and he would want as soon as possible to pass all the information gathered to the ICI. But I'm hoping, no, as I mentioned, I suspect that Engineer Alcantara might be then linked to the higher officials, and from his demeanor, I have observed that he is. It seems that he is holding back in naming some people higher than him.
But Senator, for Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson, he believes that Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva aren't off the hook just yet, and there are calls for them to inhibit from these hearings. Do you agree with that, Senator?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it seems awkward that we are investigating ourselves in the same manner that the House of Representatives did their own investigation, and sila nga po they have been hitting the Senate, no, with their investigation, and they're trying to bully whoever is naming the congressman. So
they are using the hearings to clear their name. It looks very for lack of a better word, weird. I mean, it looks
self-serving.
Why you should not allow it, right?
That is why I personally would want to wrap this up. Hoping that we can extract more information. And during the yesterday's hearing, says at least we were able to get some information. I myself was able to extract on how the modus was conducted. In aid of legislation, we have to find out how they did it so that we can propose legislations with safeguards so as not to repeat the same manner of this crime once again. So, meron naman tayo nakukuha from time to time, and I think napaamin naman natin si Bryce, si Sally. Hopefully, tingin ko talaga, there's still a missing link to the bigger or higher officials. So, we will try that in the next hearings. If not, then we will just have to turn it over to the ICI.
And Senator, one thing that also came up yesterday were projects that did not come from insertions but from unprogrammed funds. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? At dapat na ba tanggalin ang unprogrammed funds?
Well, I defended the budget of the DOTR for the past last year and this year. And that's one of my advocacies really. That's why I defend DOTR is transportation, modernization, and infrastructure development. And I was really very disappointed that the priority programs of the government and the foreign assisted projects like the railway system, the airports, and the big ticket items were lodged in the unprogrammed funds. So when I took over and I defended the DOTR, I fought for that, and now it is already lodged in the program funds. So talagang there's really something that is connected there, no? That's why I would want to dig deeper in this. If it means that the members of the BICAM then, of course, Saldico is always mentioned, then he has to face the music. And I'm glad that the new speaker has already issued an order for him to return to the Philippines.
Senator, will you be summoning him to the, of course, it's the decision of the chair, Senator Lacson, to the Blue Ribbon Committee?
Yes, it will be. It's his decision, but we'll see how it goes. In the coming hearings. Hopefully, we can wrap up already, so that the ICI can already do their job. We just want to wrap up and give the information that that is concrete and something that at least will be able to help the ICI continue their investigations.
So if he comes home, if Zaldico comes home, Before you guys wrap up the Blue Ribbon hearing, what is the sentiment with the majority or even the entire Senate? Are you guys inclined to, invite him over, ask him some questions?
Sean, Pauline, Yes, no? Natabunan lang eh. But the appearance of Congressman Toby Tiangco in one of the hearings, and he brought evidences no that he flashed on the screen. Ito yung USB that they don't want to show in the House of Representatives. He showed that in the Blue Ribbon Committee. And nandun po yung listahan of projects in Mindoro, yung mga notorious sa Mindoro, Bulacan and other places na nandun po talaga yung mga names din ng mga proponents, no? So, at least it came from one of their own, Congressman Tiangco, no? Whatever they say about Congressman Tiangco, I think he was brave enough to stand by his principles. So, I think the Blue Ribbon Committee should take that into consideration kasi nandun po yung mga pangalan ni Saldico rin eh. So, he has to answer all of these things.
What about the former speaker?
Well, it depends if it really reaches the former speaker, no, Martin Romualdez. But from what I remember, looking at the slides presented by Congressman Toby Tiangco, it was just Saldico's. Nakalodge siya kay Saldico yung mga mga insertions. So we'll see how it will go, no. But I personally would want to put more weight on that testimony or that appearance of Congressman Toby Tiangco because he came with evidence in the documents.
Okay. And finally, the Discayas appeared separately before the DOJ. Do you also think that they should be granted witness protection?
That's one of the criterias on how you will be granted witness protection is that you should be least guilty. So it's up to the Department of Justice to evaluate who are really the most guilty, who really perpetrated this scheme. So that's why when I endorsed that Sally Santos of SIMS be endorsed to the Department of Justice, that depends on their evaluation as well. So we will just endorse and they will evaluate.
Okay, so ang tingin ninyo least guilty siya?
Well, that's sino pa?
Si
Sally. Since you're recommending her to be protected, you see her as least guilty.
Yes, because from her testimony yesterday and the other day, she was very consistent that she was just forced to lend her licenses, no, to Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza because ang sabi nga niya, contractor lang po ako, syempre mga district engineering office po yan, mga head, mga boss. Pag hindi ko pinahiram, baka hindi na ako mabigyan ng kontrata. So she was just saying that she was just satisfied on being given the royalty with the use of the licenses. So I think that can qualify her as a least guilty because she was just forced to lend her license. So she was not really part of that scheme. No? Kumbaga hindi naman siya yung talagang mastermind on the modus.
So does that mean you find the Discaya senator parang kumbaga mas involved sila in the whole setup of the scheme?
Well, they are also contractors and if proven that they have, siguro that they'll be evaluated if their projects were delivered, be it, sana walang, pero some are substandard, no, initially. So they have to be answerable to that.
Right.
No?
And they're bribing proponents, legislators, right?
That too, that will also unqualify them to be...
Yeah.
Pero in terms of Sen, yung physical security nila kasi marami pa tayong gustong pigain from the Discaya couple and kung may magyari sa kanila, heaven forbid, baka mawala lahat yon. Is there value to that? Just keeping them safe ba?
And I think it's very important for the state to be able to provide them the necessary security while the cases are ongoing. Of course, we know for a fact that this is a syndicate. This is a criminal syndicate. It's not far-fetched that somebody will attempt on the lives of these resource persons or witnesses. So I think it's the responsibility of the state to provide security to all those who are now regarded as resource persons and witnesses.
Senator, pahuli na lang, what about Engineer Bryce Hernandez? I mean, yesterday he did say all out na daw siya. Today, he's already surrendering his luxury vehicles. And let's not forget, he's the one also who showed the screenshots and the pictures of that piles of cash. Do you think all out na nga ba talaga tong si Engineer Hernandez?
Well, I'm hoping because there's no way to go. At least if they can help, at least prevent occurrence of such crime in the future, then sana naman makonsensya sila, no? But that doesn't, yun lang, I think they are all the culprits. They are all the masterminds. Sabi ko nga kanina, in my own assessment, Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza are in charge of the operation and implementation of the projects, which turned out to be ghost and substandard. And then itong si boss nila, si District Engineer Henry Alcantara is the one I would think in charge of talking to the proponents in case there is really, or the higher DPWH officials.
And finally, there is a conspiracy with other agencies. Because hindi na ba-blacklist yung mga contractors even if they have a poorer grade. Also probably with the BIR. Can you see that? Can you conclude that there are other agencies involved or people in other agencies, in other government agencies?
I agree with that, Ces. I think this is really a collusion, no? Even it's not only DPWH, it's not only the contractor, it's not only the proponents. I think meron din yan sa COA, no? Lulusot sa COA yan, probably in DBM, and BIR. How can they get away with all of these luxury things, no? With BIR. But also PICAB. Sana na natin yung PICAB, no? The accreditation.
Right.
No? It's difficult to get the accreditation. I used to be a developer. To get yung AAA and quadruple A, it takes 20, 30 years of experience and track record. But now, it's so easy. That's why Discayas were able to get 8 AAA or quadruple A licenses, no, from PICAP. So they are also liable. So it's a collusion, really, of the different government agencies.
We thank you for joining us, Senator J.V. Ejercito.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, a storm now inside the Philippine area of responsibility could become a super typhoon. Find out when after this breather. This is the big story on One News. Stay tuned.
The big story is back with the Office of the Ombudsman issuing and lifting suspensions. First, preventive suspensions for 16 public works officials in Bulacan. All of them are subject of criminal complaints filed Monday by DPWH Chief Vince Dizon and Commission on Audit Chairperson Gamaliel Cordoba. These officials are tagged in ghost flood contracts in the towns of Plaridel, Pandi, and Bocaue, amounting to 389.6 million pesos based on additional fraud audit reports. The suspension order took effect Thursday, September 18, and will last for a maximum of 6 months. Acting Ombudsman Dave Vargas said the order was enforced to prevent the respondents from exerting influence over the probe. The Ombudsman earlier placed the engineering office's top officials under suspension, including Henry Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez, and JP Mendoza. This was rendered moot after the DPWH ordered their dismissals. Meanwhile, the Ombudsman has lifted the preventive suspension of 4 GSIS officials, including President and General Manager Vic Veloso and Vice President Mary Abigail Francisco. 6 GSIS honchos were suspended in July over the pension fund's purchase of 1.41 billion pesos in stock from Alternergy Holdings Corporation. Vargas said their continued stay in office won't prejudice the investigation. The lifting did not cover Executive Vice President Michael Praxedes and Vice President Aaron Samuel Chan because they are no longer connected with the GSIS. In a statement, Veloso maintained he has always acted above board in all his dealings involving the GSIS. He expressed gratitude with the Ombudsman for recognizing his professionalism and integrity.
Let's check in on the weather now. Tropical storm Nando is still over the Philippine Sea and it has slightly intensified as it packs in strength from the waters. The last reported location of Nando is some 905 kilometers east of central Luzon. There is still a huge possibility of it intensifying into a typhoon by tomorrow and into super typhoon category by Monday. As Nando approaches the landmass, there is a high chance of it further enhancing the southwest monsoon or habagat. Signal number 1 could be hoisted over northern Luzon starting tomorrow morning, and it could reach up to signal number 5. On the forecast track, the center of Nando could pass close or may make landfall over the Babuyan Islands between Monday and Tuesday before it exits the Philippine area of responsibility, possibly by Tuesday noon.
And shifting gears now to sports, the opening ceremony of the UAAP Season 88 has kicked off at the University of Santo Tomas with over 36,000 revelers gathering at the historic campus in España, Manila. And now let's get updates on the festivities there from our mobile journalist, Denise Valdesancho. Hi, Denise. How's the opening ceremony going so far?
Good evening, Pauline. As they say, all roads lead to España because we just witnessed a very extravagant kick-off for the UAAP opening ceremonies here at the University of Santo Tomas. But just before that, we've experienced a bit of a downpour, which medyo nawala na ngayon, no? But the show must go on, as they say. But before that, the day started at 2 p.m. with a Thanksgiving Mass for all UAAP athletes, which then the spotlight shifted to a star-studded torch relay and cauldron lighting ceremony led by sports icon Cici Rondina, Jerby Cruz, Sidney and two-time Olympian EJ Obiena. And just a few moments ago, pop star royalty Sara Geronimo wrapped up her high-energy performance, electrifying the crowd alongside fellow artist Kian Cipriano. And right now, we will be seeing more performances we have the band Lola Amor and singer Rob Daniel and Pearl Agustin. And with this energy, kanina punong-puno talaga ang buong UST. When I say buong UST, bawat sulok ng UST, not just the Mashans, but all visitors from UAAP schools. And for tomorrow, we will be seeing basketball action again here inside UST at the Quadricentennial Pavilion.
Okay, Denise, so when is the basketball season officially starting and what game is taking place there tomorrow?
Yes, Pauline, it officially starts tomorrow again here at the Quadricentennial Pavilion. We will be seeing firsthand September 20 tomorrow, FEU and Ateneo, followed by a game by Adam Shawn and Desal. That's at the UST Quadricentennial Pavilion. Yes.
All right, I'm sure everybody's excited for that. But for now, thank you very much for that report. That was mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho reporting live from the University of Santo Tomas. And the stage is also set for this weekend's World Pole Vault Challenge in Makati. Ayala Triangle in Makati is now ready for the two-day event, which features 9 international award-winning pole vaulters, including our very own EJ Obiena. It's a dream come true for the Pinoy pole vaulter who first conceived the idea when he competed during the 2024 Paris Olympics. Among those participating are world number 5 Ersu Sasma of Turkey, world number 6 Menno Vloon of the Netherlands, world number 12 Thibaut Collet of France, world number 13 Ben Broders of Belgium, world number 14 Austin Miller of the United States, world number 15 Piotr Lisek of Poland, world number 16 Oleg Zernickel of Germany, and world number 23 Matt Ludwig of the United States.
Such a big moment for the country to host world-class competition, and definitely bringing it here at the heart of the city where you don't typically get these kind of events. This typically is inside a stadium. This is such a unique atmosphere. The target is always be having to consistently produce athletes that we could depend on to deliver medals in Southeast Asian Games and the Olympics. These are definitely tough thing to achieve, but you know, showing these kind of events one day at a time, inspiring the next generation to try the sport itself, is definitely the right way to do it. yeah, there's still a lot of things that needs to be done. But if we're just talking about what I want to see in the future, hopefully when I'm done, we're going to consistently win SEA Games, get medals in the Asian Games, and hopefully have a consistent representation of Philippines in the world of pole vaulting.
We're going to be pausing for another quick break, but right after that, more protests this Friday and the lead up to the bigger rally on Sunday, September 21. We'll see how groups are preparing for the big day. When the big story returns, keep it here.
Welcome back to the big story. Government agencies are beefing up some mechanisms to curb corruption and laundering. That's in light of anomalies in flood control projects. For the Agriculture Department, it's by way of a full audit of farm-to-market roads or FMR projects from 2021 to 2025. The DPWH is in charge of commissioning, bidding out, and construction of FMRs. DA Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel said the audit will ensure the projects really serve their purpose of improving access for farmers. Laurel also warned against a so-called farm-to-pocket scheme and vowed to report any irregularities to President Marcos. For its part, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has capped daily cash withdrawals at 500,000 pesos for clients to curb money laundering, terror financing, and other unscrupulous activities. Transactions above this amount must be made via traceable channels like checks, bank transfers, or digital payments. Customers who wish to exceed the limit must undergo enhanced due diligence, including submission of additional documents and purpose of legitimate business.
Several groups protested the whole day today in the lead up to the scheduled massive rallies on Sunday, September 21st. Juan Gualvez with that report.
There was continuous honking of horns on Legarda Street in Manila on Friday morning in support of rallies calling for accountability over corruption in the government. The honk against corruption bid earned solid support from passing vehicles. As protesters crossed Recto Avenue, they laid out a long red banner symbolizing their global campaign to draw the line for climate justice. They lament how, instead of focusing on environmental crisis at hand, government funds just got pocketed by contractors and officials involved in flood control projects.
Ito ang isang sintomas at pasilip sa kung paano ginagamit yung pondong kailangan natin na binabayo tayo ng dilubyo, ng mga bagyo, pagbaha. Yung pera na kailangan ng mga komunidad, lalo ng Maralita, binubulsa pala ng ilang tao lamang.
Hanggat political dynasty ang namumuno sa tuktok ng ating gobyerno, hindi titigil ang korupsyon dahil ang political dynasty, kakambal niyan ang pagnanakaw.
Meanwhile, farmers and students stormed the engineering office of DPWH Bulacan 1st District, said to be the epicenter of anomalous flood control structures. They defaced a project billboard with mud to symbolize their disgust over those involved in ghost projects.
Kailangan po makulong sila dahil sila milyon-bilyon pero kami mga magsasaka, gutom, hirap. Hindi namin alam saan kami kukuha pagkain sa araw-araw.
In Laguna, students of the University of the Philippines in Los Baños walked out from class. Professors and even the university administration supported their move. They condemned how the corrupt system resulted into the lack of funds for education. In San Juan City, transport groups trooped to the office of the Department of Transportation to call for funding for the Public Transport Modernization Program.
Pondo na hinihingi namin kaysa naman mapunta lang sa korupsyon.
In the middle of the protest action, some officials of the DOTR sought a dialogue. They explained that they had asked for a higher budget for service contracting and fuel subsidy. As the sun sets, the rallies converge over a Taft Avenue to light candles against corruption. All of these groups vow to join the more massive protests on Sunday, September 21st, which are expected to draw tens of thousands of people, all outraged by corruption. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
And we now talk to Akbayan Party List Representative Percy Sendanya. Akbayan is one of the leads in Sunday's rally on EDSA. Good evening, Kong Percy.
Good evening, Ces, Shawn, and Pawi.
Alright, ano ang plano sa September 21? Anong oras magsisimula?
It's going to be a long day on September 21. Maraming excited, kaya maraming iba't ibang mga activities that are happening around the country. Pero yung epicenter will be at the People Power Monument in EDSA. The day will begin at around 9 a.m. Magkakaroon ng assembly doon, and then at 10 a.m. ang ating Ramon Magsaysay awardee, the new Ramon Magsaysay awardee, Father Flavi, will be leading a mass followed by pocket programs until the 2 p.m. program with leaders of the church and various schools and communities from around Metro Manila.
I know it's early and we don't want to talk about crowd strength, but tanungin ko na rin, how many are you expecting?
Well, in the most recent meeting of the coalition, this is composed of multi-sectoral groups, ang napag-usapan is we're targeting around 15 to 20,000. Pero given itong very warm reception from our kababayans from different parts of Metro Manila, I'm sure that we can have more than 15,000 in the EDSA People Power Monument on Sunday.
Kong Percy, linawin lang natin, no, for the benefit of everyone who wants to attend as well as those who might be, maabala ng traffic. Isasara ba? Ito yung sa may Temple Drive na monument, hindi yung Mother Mary statue doon sa may EDSA Shrine, right?
Yes, ito yung nasa pagitan ng Camp Aguinaldo and Corinthian Gardens, yung Temple Drive. Pero I'm sure that eventually, kung sobrang dami na ng tao, baka mag-spill over ito up to the first lane of EDSA. So this is the PPM Monument. Hindi po yung malapit doon sa isang mall na church. But Mass will be held at 12 noon doon sa EDSA Shrine naman to be officiated by various leaders of the Catholic Church. In fact, ang daming misa na magaganap sa darating na linggo. I understand there will also be a Mass at Lasal Green Hills, which will be participated in by the members of the SEAC o yung Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines. Ito yung mga Catholic schools from around Metro Manila.
So Kong Percy, inaasahan nyo ba na mostly members of the youth ang sasali sa mga protestang ito?
Madalas nga namin sinasabi itong darating na Sunday, this will be kami na medyo may mga edad na, kami yung support doon sa ating mga young people who are leading really the charge against corruption. Parang itong generation na ito talaga, yung matindi yung paninindigan laban sa corruption, and we have to support them all the way.
I think, Kong Percy, medyo magkaedad tayo. And we were just saying, I was talking to Pao, who's the same age as my younger sister, na yung generation nila hindi pa talaga nakaka-participate sa rally. So, tell us na rin, no, kung ano ba yung plano na programa? How long will this last? May prepare ba kayo kahit loose program flow lang, apart from the multiple masses?
Siguro baka magandang pasilip yung nangyari kanina sa Ateneo. I'm wearing black because earlier today I was invited to speak at the Ateneo Black Friday protests. And Black Friday protests are happening in various campuses around the country. May mga walkout, may mga programa sa mga kalsada. I understand yung magiging kondukta o yung magiging flow of the program on Sunday will be marami ang panalangin because this is a national day of prayer against corruption. Pero I'm sure there will be creative performances. At ayoko man nasabihin, pero may mga naimbitahan tayo ng mga mainstream artists and performers na talagang popular doon sa ating younger generation ngayon.
Alam mo, Kong Percy, ang mga protesta natin parang piyesta di ba? I mean, people power was like that. It became like fiesta.
Woodstock fiesta. It felt almost like a social event. Pero may protesta pa rin.
Yes, and I can imagine that dahil ang haba ng programa, imagine from 10 a.m. and up to siguro around 4 or 5, people will be at the People Power Monument. Siguro magmamala picnic din ito tulad ng EDSA kung saan may mga nagdadala at nagbabahagi ng mga pagkain doon sa mga uma-attend.
Oo, tama. Pero ito naman ang parang may bagyo. Ano ang fallback? Ano ang plan B in case?
Well, I heard this earlier this afternoon when we were at the Ateneo for their Black Friday protest. Yung isang sigaw ng mga bagets natin ay their anger and their courage is waterproof. Kasi nabanggit nga na it could be a rainy Sunday on the 21st.
Ang ironic nga no? Kasi yung baha talaga naman yung naging punot dulo nitong mga protesta natin. Pero if I may be allowed to shift, Kong Percy, to a slightly different topic, ano po yung reaction ninyo sa minority, no? Doon sa action ni bagong Speaker Boji D na ni-revoke niya yung travel clearance si Zaldico at pinapauwi niya?
We welcome this recent development and action of the Speaker na pabalikin sa Pilipinas si Congressman Zaldico at paharapin para ipaliwanag ano yung nangyari talaga do sa budget process last year. Napakaraming issue. In fact, yung budget ng 2025, isa sa naging mitya talaga ng galit ng taong bayan at maraming ipaliwanag. And I think Congressman Zaldico is in the best position to explain to the people what really happened.
Kong Percy, you also challenged and urged the new Speaker of the House, si Speaker Boji D, nga, to prove na hindi siya tuta o puppet, as critics say. What do you want to see him do exactly, Kong Percy?
Well, we want the Speaker to exercise political leadership by first, unang-una, siguro kung darating na Lunes, kung talagang seryoso yung ating bagong Speaker to show independence and political will, na handa niyang i-take on itong historic role na ito during a pivotal historical moment in our nation's history na dapat ilabas ang salin ng lahat ng mga kongresista. And let that set an example for other branches of government and for other houses also, like the Senate, na ilabas ang mga salin ng ating mga kongresista at senador. At pangalawa, we want the support of the new Speaker to finally open the BICAM process. Kung meron tayong natutunan nito mga nakaraang linggo, marami doon sa hocus-pocus, marami doon sa tongpads, marami doon sa bumubukol ng mga insertions nangyari during the BICAM. So, kung seryoso ang bagong leadership about budget reform and transparency, and most importantly, accountability, dapat open BICAM tayo.
Committee leadership, very quick, Sas. Committee leaderships or chairmanships, are you in favor of keeping the same leaders as Majority Leader Sandro Marcos said, or does the minority want to see some changes in that as well?
Well, what we want to see are significant reforms within the House. And if that would entail changes in committee chairpersonship, then so be it. Pero madalas namin sinasabi sa minority, usapang majority kasi yan. Mula yung pagpapalit ng speaker hanggang sa pagpapalit ng mga committee chairperson. Sa amin malinaw sa minority that our role is to fiscalize and to give direction to the House of Representatives in pursuing systemic and systematic reforms.
How about this investigation in the House? Should it also wrap up now and just give way to the ICI?
Well, I'd like to put a certain context to this answer. While the House is doing its investigation and the ICI will be doing its investigation, mayroon pa ring gap. At yung gap na yun ay dahil kulang yung kapangyarihan ng parehong bodies na ito. And that could only be mediated and that could only be cured by the legislation of an independent commission on infrastructure corruption. Yung akbayan, kasama ng reform bloc in Congress, has filed this very important piece of legislation para tiyakin that the independent commission that will investigate will have the subpoena powers and necessary contempt powers para magkaroon ng ngipin. Kaya yun din yung isang hamon natin. Sa darating na linggo, mananabagan tayo uli sa Pangulo na dapat sa lalong madaling panahon is-certify as urgent itong ating House bill that creates, na alam natin meron ding counterpart sa Senate, that creates an independent commission on infrastructure corruption. So, yung pagpapatuloy, tingin ko, okay pa yan, pero sa dulo dapat, or our eye should be on a legislated, isang body that is created by law.
So how's the majority reacting to that? I understand that it's filed by Congresswoman De Lima.
Yes, by Congresswoman De Lima of Mamamayang Liberal, Akbayan Party List, and members of the Liberal Party. So it's a reform bloc initiative. Okay. And nakakatuwa dito sa ating reform bloc, may ilan dito na mga miyembro ng mayorya who are part of the Liberal Party. And we hope that the new Speaker will support this measure and even urge yung kanyang mga kasama sa mayorya to co-author and eventually fast-track the process of approval para bago gumulong talaga yung ICI ay magkaroon siya ng ngipin at saka ng puwersa.
Alright, thank you for talking to us. And sana nga hindi umulan o kaya maghanda na, may mga raincoat naman.
Mag-alay na rin tayo ng itlog.
Oo nga eh. Sabi ko
forever
nga.
solution namin ni Pawi.
Mag-aalay ka ba ng itlog, Kong?
At itlog na yun, itlog ng tapang.
Correct.
Maraming salamat. Thank you for talking to us, Akbayan Party List Representative Percy Sardania.
Now, the Kapatid Network will be covering the events on Sunday, September 21st. From the morning protest in Luneta, Manila to the afternoon rally at the People Power Monument, we will bring you a blow-by-blow account of the anti-corruption action. Catch this special coverage live on One News, 1PH, and other Kapatid channels. Real-time updates, on-the-ground reports, and in-depth analysis, all in one network. Protesta, a special coverage. Don't miss it this Sunday.
Andun yung picture mo eh.
Oo nga eh.
So, wait, tsaka si Ces. So, ikaw, studio? Ikaw, field? Or studio kayo pareho?
Hindi, parang iba-ibang shifts. Kasi mahaba yung araw eh.
So, will you be joining? Makikilahok?
Kami 10 a.m. So, the coverage we'll do the top of the morning coverage sa protesta. But welcome back.
Oh,
yes,
and welcome back to you too.
We're complete.
Grabe, guys.
Were you monitoring everything that was happening?
Yes. I'm so kulang sa tulog because kailangan ko habulin yung time difference. Pagkagising ko,
sinira mo yung bakasyon mo.
I can't stay away. It's so compelling. I want to see something happen. Especially pag nakabakasyon ka sa ibang place na, they have their own problems, right? Pero you're like,
yeah, you feel so sorry for our country, no?
More for countrymen, you know? And it's really the reason why habang Sunday, makikilahok mo sa people pa.
Ayan, we can call on you to report to
pala.
us.
Oh, sige. I'm planning to go with, yun nga, with my sister because she's never been to rally. Tapos, as Pauli's report said kanina, Sunday rin pala yung EJ Obiena pole vault.
Oh, yes. So many things happening this weekend.
I mean,
all right.
Okay. You can do both.
You can do both.
The events are both long.
Yeah.
Well, hoping for nice traffic and good weather on Sunday.
Yes, mag-alay tayo ng itlog.
All right, and that will do it for us here on The Big Story. Thanks so much for watching.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here Monday at 7:30 p.m. See you then. In the meantime, have a good night and have a restful weekend and see you on Sunday.
Yeah.